Ms. Chair, we're live.
Thank you. This meeting is called to order. Today is April 8th and the time is 5:12 p.m. I'm calling to order the Baldwin Park Stakeholders Oversight Committee regular meeting. Pastor Jackson, can you please lead us in an invocation?
Heavenly Father, we come boldly to your throne of grace, Lord, that we may find grace and help in time of need. And truly in this time and season, we do need divine direction, Lord God. And we're asking you, Lord God, in touching the stockholders committee meeting, giving us wisdom and knowledge and understanding what to do and doing the right thing. In the name of the Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Now, if everybody could please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Chief Deputy City Clerk Quiñones, can I please get a roll call?
Yes, Chair Lara,
Here.
Vice Chair Jackson,
Here.
Member Hernandez,
Here.
Member Marta Cárcamo,
Here.
Member Orozco. Let the record reflect, Member Orozco is not here. Member Rodriguez.
Running late.
Okay. And Member Nguyen.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. At this moment, we will open public communications. Chief Deputy Quiñones, is anyone looking to speak?
We haven't received any cards.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that is wishing to speak? Now is your time. As you step up, please state your name.
I was looking at your agenda and we're spending so much money out of the stakeholders' money. You know, one of the things my community and other communities, they've been asking to get permits to park on the streets, and we still haven't seen anything out of it. You know, we have the project at Barnes, which is not even half done. And another thing over Walnut Creek, I had asked Manny and Maria maybe 2 years ago that we should get some equipment, exercise equipment in that area, you know. It's something that, you know, we're not throwing, but using the money. I know it's needed. I approve of it on something like this, but let's do something for the community before we start spending so much money on all this. Why do we need some more pickups? Or somebody to run around the community and talk to them or whatever they want to do, you know, like they do in West Covina. They use regular cars. You know, the car that's outside is beautiful. I don't know how much it's going to cost. I was looking that you guys are asking for 3 pickups. We already have enough pickups, or if they're going to pick up trash, I don't think they're going to pick up trash. So that's one of the concerns that I have, and I know my community is going to be concerned about it after I talk to them tomorrow. Because it's like I say, you know, we haven't seen nothing for the community from all this money. You know, it's going here, going there, and everything. But what have we done in the community? Sidewalks are bad. There's big planners that they haven't filled in. Like the signs that I've been asking, for the past couple of years. Why don't we spend $10,000 on signs? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Okay, good evening. I'm just here to let you know that we did get our bingo machine last week, and today was the first day that we used it. So just want to give you the subcommittee for all your help on behalf of the Baldwin Park Senior Club. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? Okay, so seeing that we don't have anyone, I'm going to move to close public communications. And now we will move on to the first order of business, which is community service officer positions.
Madam
Oh.
Chair, before we go into the new business section, we have a presentation for the SOC that we were not able to get on the agenda, but nonetheless, some of you, it was meant to be a surprise, but I think you saw the surprise. The Mach-E electric car came in, and it's fully labeled now, fully stenciled, and it's right outside for you to presence its delivery, witness its delivery, and for social media postings. So if you can recess the SOC, Madam Chair, for a brief moment to go do the presentation out in front.
Do I need to make a motion for that? Okay. So I motion that we recess at 5:18 to go look at our new vehicle.
Yes, a Mach-E, no less. Okay.
Man, through it. Thank you. Thank you.
We are now resuming our meeting at 5:33 p.m. Thank you for that opportunity to see the Mac E.
Yeah, Mikey.
It's a beautiful car. I think we'll get amazing usage out of it in the community. So thank you. I don't know if anybody wants to add to that.
Yes, I would like to add that the fact that it has community, the word community there is very meaningful because as a community member, you know, it makes me proud. As a SOC member, it makes me also proud to see that the funds that are being utilized back to the community. So it's a good investment. So just, you know, proud of the work that the community is doing, part of the work that the SOC committee is doing, and the requests that are coming in.
Just to be seen is a good thing. And not only is it a good thing to be able to communicate with the community, it's a deterrent for things to happen because there's someone that's patrolling around. And then having a relationship with the community at any time, that's a great thing.
Thank you, Pastor. Bridging relationships.
Yes.
And you know, the fact that it's the first electric car in the police fleet as well. I know Board Member Rodriguez was commenting whether this was the first electric car. It is the first fully electric car in the city's fleet entirely, right, Anthony? And so, you know, the transition for the city to make the move into the electrification world, that's the very first step. Thank you, SOC. You made that first step happen. Thank you.
So I guess now we can proceed with our first presentation.
Oh, yes. So we move on to new business. Yes. So, and I know as a preface comment to this request for funding, and at times the SOC may feel that we always coming in asking for funding. But you're the ones with the funds. So everything has to have a connection to the community, as you have made it very clear over the course of your meetings, that whether it's a direct benefit for the community, such as a community project, or something that will enable the city to provide a service to the community. And this request for funding is no exception. And while it may seem a bit convoluted with many items included in this, the one request comes in a package, and that is the Community Service Officer Package. It's a program that the chief will explain, and Josh, I think, and they'll explain to you how they intend to have this proposal be of direct benefit to the community. Generally, we think of police departments made up of patrol officers, which is the primary and most visible agent for a police department. And the way the chief is, organizing his department, he certainly makes use of police patrol officers, but the two positions that he's requesting here are not quite police patrol officers, but they complement police officers. And, without being fully fully vested as a police officer. So he'll give you an explanation why the CSOs make sense, primarily for security at parks, city parks and city plazas, but not only at city parks, but primarily at city parks and city plazas. So I think with that, Chief, you have a presentation that you want to go over, correct?
Yes, sir. So, Madam Chair and community members, thank you for the opportunity to provide you some information on the community service officer. But first, I wanted to say thank you for allowing us to move into the a new world with the black or a new electric vehicle, and also the other vehicles that you may see now, the Durangos and the Chargers that we have. You helped to get us to where we need to be at this time period, as well as our radios and those things that you've allowed funds to help us through. So along with the community services, like Mr. Sullivan said, it's an extension of the police department. And the one thing that I looked at is they had CSO, community service officers, in 2009, but they transitioned them. I guess I'm not sure. I still haven't figured out why they transitioned, but they were initially in the field taking reports for officers so that it would minimize the amount of time officers had to spend to take reports and do various other functions. At some point, they transitioned to administrative staff, and so now the administrative staff that had those positions, I changed their title, and now I have 2 vacant CSO spots. And the CSO spots will be used primarily for the parks, the plazas, and any public areas that we have to patrol, with the intent that they are out either on foot or in the vehicles that that's mentioned here in the presentation, the 2 pickup trucks. One of the things that they will also be doing is sometimes, in the course of business, they'll see trash or they'll see things that causes blight. And that's one of the things I want to work on to make sure that our CSOs are part of that process as well. So the core officers, our community, our homeless team, they also use their pickup truck to do the same thing, to pick up trash, clean up encampments, and those kind of things. So the CSOs will also assist our core officers, our homeless team, with quality of life issues. And that's probably one of the biggest things I also look at is the blight and the things that sometimes property owners allow for things to happen, or will not enforce the things that that the city has requested in the municipal code sections of keeping things clean. Like our big shopping center areas, making sure that it's clean, that it doesn't foster that kind of an environment where encampments can grow and those kind of things. So the CSOs will also be working directly with our community, our core team, to improve the quality of life within the city, along with other ancillary duties. So they'll be taking crime reports where the suspect is not there. They will do parking and parking enforcement. They will do. They might collect evidence if our evidence technician is tied up. Our CSOs will do that as well. And before I forget, one of the important things that I've looked at also is that they will have arrest powers. So I'm going to send them to school or to training for 832 PC so they can make arrests or they can cite people for things that are occurring in the park. So there's a stronger enforcement at the park, and that minimizes the amount of time that the patrol officers are needed to respond to those kind of things, and allows them to work on the emergency calls and other things that we're working on, crime and those kind of things. So that's a primary goal of the CSOs. And as you look at the presentation, next slide, please. That's kind of the summary that I just provided. I just gave you about. So next slide, and the costs. Get my glasses. So you can see the personnel costs, and the personnel costs are kind of the mid-range that I'm looking at in order to encourage that type of personnel to test for this, because it is not obviously they'll have to go through backgrounds and those kind of things that we're looking for to make sure that they benefit the community and they're part of the community, that they're that kind of a person that you would want to see work in the parks or work in festivals or whatever the thing may be that the CSOs would be involved in. That's something that the community embraces and they appreciate. So if you look at the vehicle costs, we're looking at $35,000 for the 3 vehicles for a 5-year lease program. But Rose thanks to her and Anthony, that we're looking at maybe purchasing the vehicles instead. So that might be a savings for us to look at, but we're still researching that. You look at the training. So like, if you look at the MDCs, the mobile digital computers, the hardware, the light, the bars, the cameras that we need, the body worn cameras, the digital in-car camera, those kind of things, and the training is all included in this presentation, and the cost of getting these two CSO positions filled. These positions have been frozen for a while, so that's why I'm trying to get them so that actually I can actually focus in on parks, and I can focus in on what needs to be done community-wise, as was expressed by the community, that they wanted to see a little more presence at the parks. So that's my commitment, is to making sure that our CSOs have a big visibility. They will be in uniform, and they will be in obviously marked vehicles that show that they're CSOs, community service officers. And so they're kind of like, they would also be my ambassadors to encourage community participation, encourage that community outreach, so that people are willing to come up and talk to them and provide information, and so that we can, if the police department needs to work on it, or detectives, we have the opportunity to make those things happen. Next slide, please. And again, here's the role of the community service officer. And one of the things that we're still working on is the specifications for the officer. So that's with HR right now, and they're looking at the specifications. But I gave them a shell of what I'm looking at, and again, it's primarily for the parks and for the plazas and the shopping centers, so that they're out on foot. I want our guys to get on foot, and that's one of the other things we're encouraging, that our patrol officers get out on foot, and they've been doing that at the park. Manny has been very gracious to allow us to have a small office within the facility at Morgan Park. So our guys are using that as well to make sure that they have a presence there, so that the community service officers will also be part of that office, sharing the office when they can, when they're in the area there. One of the other things that I'm also looking at is, we just did the I guess the opening of the second phase for the Emerald Necklace. And that's one of the other things that they're going to be looking at, to make sure that they have a presence within the Emerald Necklace, and they're patrolling that as well. I'm not sure if you've seen our Can-Am, but we just got a Can-Am that will allow not only our core team, but also our CSOs to travel the area and make sure that there's a police presence, or a presence from the police department, so that they can make it safe and people can feel free to use the bike trails and use the path and those kind of things. Next slide, please. And again, these are the things that I'm looking at. The requirements are that they have a driver's license, they pass the physical, the psych, physical, and the polygraph, and then that within 3 months we'll send them to CSO school, so that they can arrest school, post arrest school, so that they're certified to make those kind of arrests and enforce traffic citations, enforce misdemeanor arrests, and those kind of things. One of the other benefits of this as well is that when as we've had several officers who were cadets, so this is another a feeder pool, if you will, that will allow these individuals who decide to be a CSO and want a career in law enforcement. This is the beginning to start that, so they can see the inner workings of the police department. They can become aware. And again, I want to cultivate folks from within the community to be part of the CSOs, so that we're giving back to the community. The next slide. Again, these are a lot of things. It says a career development pipeline, and that's one of the important things that, like I said, we've had very good success, because some of our officers have been explorers and cadets and have moved on to become police officers here. So they're still within the community, and they grew up here. So that's what I'm looking at. Next slide, please. And again, this is the community outreach resource engagement team, our homeless detail. And there are 2 officers that have received a lot of training in the field of mental health, homeless issues and those kind of things. And they do an amazing job. One of the things that I noticed when I first got here is the amount of encampments that we had, visible encampments that we had. Now, thankfully, with it, because of their hard work and the support of the city, that we've been able to minimize the amount of encampments that are visible. And now, we still have encampments, but they're not there. You can't see them on the street anymore like you used to. We do have, it's a transient nature with our homeless individuals, and sometimes they're not even from within the community. They're from outside of the city. We've had people out from outside of the state. They just landed here, so they do an incredible amount of work in trying to find solutions for them to find shelter or to receive services. So we have LACADA and we have La Hasa and the DMH, who also provide services to us and help us manage people that are looking for the help that they're looking for. It takes quite a while for the officers to develop a rapport to get people to acknowledge that they have a need and they need for them to seek services. I know that our guys have been very, very fortunate and they've been able to manage the even people that I think we had a motorhome that the guys actually used their own money to pay for a tire, and then the good folks at Royal Coaches actually put it on for them. So and they were able to move away to leave the area. So a lot of things that nobody really sees, only that I get to listen to because I ask those guys what they're doing out there and watching them work. So they're kind of like the unsung heroes of the police department that don't get the recognition that they should, but they do quite a bit of work for the city in making sure that the individuals that need the help, they're getting the help, and they do put them in places of the DMH, the Department of Mental Health, and the other service providers allow us to find them a shelter or find them services that they need. Next slide, please. So these are the achievements. Go ahead. Thank you. So, like I said, a lot of things that they have gone through and they've accomplished. It's 100 hours of mental health training, and they continue to receive training, especially the updates within the law, because obviously we have to conform to the law of how we deal with our homeless individuals, and so we have, like I said, we have to store their property. We have to make sure so we have a container, a 40-foot container, where we actually make arrangements to store the property until they can come back and retrieve it, and we hold it for them and take care of their property. Next slide, please. So anyway, again, going back to the vehicles and the justification, the CSOs will be working. They'll actually be working with the patrol officers, but they will be on various shift schedules. We haven't designed it yet, but we're looking at least one CSO per shift, so that in a day watch and night watch that we have somebody or a flex schedule so that we can make sure that we impact the needs of the city, especially within the parks. I know that we have a 10 o'clock curfew that we look at, and making sure that people conform to what the city has designed through the municipal code sections. So again, the focus, I want to reiterate, the focus is the parks. We definitely, I know that we're park poor, but one of the things is I want to make sure that that our residents are comfortable going to the parks and knowing that there's somebody to be around, whether it be a police officer or our CSOs patrolling the parks. Next slide, please. I think that's pretty much it. I think I've covered everything. The costs, again, what I'm looking for is to start off the program so I can hire the CSOs, and obviously there's benefits and things that are incurred within the program or the positions, uniforms, and again the leasing of the trucks or the purchase of the trucks. then all the aftermarket things that we need to put on the trucks, just like on our Mach-E, the things that we have to make sure that they have the tools they need to do in order to do the work. So, Mr. Salazar helped me put together the annual escalation of the fees that are required to make sure that we continue that process so that this doesn't go away, that I continue to have these CSOs work in the field and working the parks, working the plazas, working the city, so that there's another portion of safety that we can provide the residents.
Chief, are the CSOs unarmed?
Yes, they are unarmed, but they do get arrest tactics. They'll have a taser and taser and pepper spray. I couldn't think of the word, but anyway, yes. So they will be trained so they can handle themselves and do the things that they need to do in order to make it safe. Any questions?
Thank you for your presentation, Chief. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
So these two positions would be for full-time employees,
Yes, ma'am.
and you said that they're going to be primarily at the parks, which to me is really appealing because I know you were here for all those meetings that people really want more police at the park to feel safer.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you planning to distribute? Because even though we are park poor, we do have like 3 or 4 different parks around the
Yeah.
area. Can you give me an idea of how you would want to separate these kind of
We're still
officers?
looking, yes, ma'am. We're still looking to see how we're going to separate it, whether it be by areas or beats, so that we can make sure that the coverage that we have is sufficient for not only for officer safety for them, but also that we're impacting the quality of life and the safety of the parks.
Perfect. And then going on that, you mentioned that they'll also be helping assist your current officers, such as like helping with missing person reports, going with parking tickets. Do you know how much that will deter from them being at the park, or you have like an estimate like 70% park, 30% admin work, or idea?
I still have to figure out the amount of park park coverage, I guess you could say. But my focus would be the majority of the time that they would be in the areas of the parks. And then when our calls for service started to get to the point where we're starting to get too busy and the officers were stretched kind of thin, then they'll respond to take those report calls. And any of the other ancillary, I guess you could say, administrative processes. But I would would hope that we would not have to utilize them at that point. But there's always that chance because we do get busy. And, right now, I think you've seen the post that we've made that we've just hired 7 folks, 2 are laterals and 5 are brand new academy grads. So it's going to take a little time because we are a rather young police department again because of the hiring that we've done, the amount of people that we brought in. So a lot of people are in that area of on probation, so they're out with their field training officers. So that means if you see 2 officers, that's because they're the ones in training. But it'll be a little while before you get to see the additional officers. So then that'll allow us to separate a little bit more and even more focus on the parks. But it's there. It'll be there.
So it's more like a backup in case they need to be helping.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that feels a lot more secure with that. Thank you so much.
Hi, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the presentations. I do have a lot of questions, but I'm going to start out with, hey, I think the CSO and the Corps, I think they're great for crime deterrence. They're great to reduce the response time or clear up the cases that the patrol officers have to deal with. But the questions that I have is, so the CSO are non-sworn officers,
Correct.
but you give them the ability to do arrest.
Yes, sir.
How's that going to do with, I'm thinking about getting sued. If these are non-trained, non-academy trained, non-sworn, and they make arrest, what if they injure people? And
Obviously, well, they will go to training. They will. We have looked at training at Rio Hondo, so they will receive training in the police procedures and the things that they need to be aware of. And again, they won't be like you said, sworn officers, but they will be trained to the aspects of what they need to understand about liability, about how to handle people, especially when you're dealing with the mental health and those kind of issues. So they will receive the required training that they need, and it's post-certified. So Peace Officer Standards Training certified, so they will receive the training that they require.
So that they can legally arrest people
Yes,
or
sir.
detain people at the port?
Yes, sir.
At the park only or just anywhere?
Well, my focus is the park, but they can do it if they're driving, you know, in the plaza or the the Zocalo or the shopping centers. If there's something that they see that they can handle it, it minimizes the amount of patrol time that we have to utilize an officer.
Okay. Now to training. The training cost, does that lie on us or the city?
Well, it's in the I guess the bid or the funding that I've asked for. It's I believe it's $377.
370.
Okay.
Let me see.
Chief, if I can
Yes.
provide some assistance to those questions. So
Thank you, Chief.
to go back to your previous question as far as the training and stuff like that. So originally what the CSOs will receive is called 832 PC training, which is the power to make arrests. I guess a good example that other cities might have is if you ever seen like a park ranger at another city. I know Upland has them, Newport, some of the other cities have them. They train them both through and we use the regional training center at Rio Hondo, which is 118 for the 832 PC course. And then there would be in-house training that they would do. But more than just the training to make the arrest, what we're going to provide them with is the training that our officers get on de-escalation, mental health awareness. They won't respond to crimes in progress. So when it comes to like, hey, are they going to be, we have an active situation they're going to go to, but if they need to make an arrest based upon somebody not complying with the law and them taking the appropriate steps, we want to train them with the ability to do so. So to your point, to reduce that, risk mitigation factor. And they would never be alone. They would either be paired up with our core officers, which I think
Okay.
are our homeless liaison team you guys have seen. The goal is either to have them be sort of a force multiplier, but not a direct one where it's just another officer there, right? They're to provide a different perspective, a different focus, if you will. And so I want to kind of touch on that with your original question. And then to go back to the training, outside of the 832 training, which is offered through the Rio Hondo Regional Training Facility, there would be in-house training for arrest and control, use of force, defensive tactics. But more importantly, and just like we do with our newer officers, we have like a virtual reality headset that they can wear. We'll train them on how to deal with certain scenarios in a controlled environment, and we can kind of go over that with them as well. So all the training that an officer would receive when it comes to arrests, use of force, de-escalation, they would receive the same training as well.
Thank you for the clarifications, and I'm all for it. Sorry.
I do have a question. Well, actually, first, let me make a statement. So I do appreciate that you're bringing this to us because on the few of the meetings, just like our subcommittee member here indicated, the couple of meetings that we had, the most important thing that I kept hearing over and over was safety and more police presence and also park security. So I think with those three things in mind, it is something that I think we would be able to fit into, looking at or possibly supporting. I won't go too far ahead until we make the motions, but I do have a question. For the police officers, I know this is in addition to in helping the community, which I'm all for, but how are we with the staffing with the police officers? Are we already at full staffing? Is this why we're now looking into the
No, ma'am. We're-
CSOs, or are we still, do we still have a gap?
7 frozen positions, police officer positions that are frozen. Again, that's another issue, but we're at the point where we're about 3 or 4 positions from getting to the frozen positions. So we're filling the positions that we've had vacant for a while. So what we did was we did a hiring task force, And that was a primary function of the hiring task force, and they were out doing seminars and those kind of things at the Marine Corps base, at different places, colleges, looking for applicants. So we've done our applicants and we've got them through. So now we are almost at a place where we're at a waiting list. We're not there yet, but like I said, the amount of hiring that we've done in the last maybe year and a half is incredible. I don't think in talking to the officers here, they've never seen that many officers in a briefing room in a long time. So it's a positive thing, but the CSO is an additional thing. So it allows the officers to focus more on crime. Thankfully, our crime is manageable, but it actually focuses so that it can be a little more proactive patrol and those kind of things. And again, using the CSOs to focus in on the parks, the safety of the parks, and also encouraging community not involvement, but just community relations, so to speak, that they're part of that process that I'm looking for.
And the reason I ask that is because I want the community to, well, one, for it to be noted here that we're not at full capacity with staffing when it comes to safety overall with police officers, that there's still a freeze. And the reason that this is being requested is not because it's an addition, there's money there, let's go get this money, but it's more because it is safety, something that the community members have requested for. So I just wanted to make that kind of clear so everybody understands that it's not just, oh, we want more, but that there's still a need. And this will actually help with the force that you already have out there and help them tend to those cases that are needed, that need an officer, and have these CSOs actually be within the community and keeping our community safer. So that's why my question, but.
Yes, ma'am. And like
Thank
Captain
you.
Hendrick said, it is a force multiplier for us because again, it allows a little more impact at the parks, impact within the community to allow that safety factor for the community to feel safe.
Definitely. And, for me, I've gone to the park, is it the Fraser Park? The one over on Fraser? Yeah, the Walnut Creek Park. And I know I would feel much safer if there were officers around there because it does get a little lonely in that area,
Yes.
especially with Barnes being closed right now. So, I do appreciate these requests. So thank you.
Thank you.
Chief, I have a question. So I know it takes a while to post and get your job description, but do you have an estimated time of how much what the time period would look like to get hired, train, interview, more or less?
It's hard to say. It could be anywhere between, I'm hoping in 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Just because I want to do it, I want to accelerate this. And I think we have some prospects out there that are looking, from the past who worked for the city in the past. So it would be like a positive for us because we're recruiting from people that were here before.
Okay. And then I don't know if I missed it, but is what you're asking for funding for 1 year?
Madam Chair, we structure the recommendations in a way that for sure 26, 27 to coincide with the regular city's budget, which will be coming to the city council in June. That's when, we make a recommendation to the city council on the subsequent fiscal year. This is the first time that we are asking for a personnel-based salary request for funding. And we know that, you want to be comfortable in understanding that because, yes, the intent would be for this to be a permanent, ongoing funding. Certainly for next fiscal year to start, but then, like it's true with any position that's meant to be full-time permanent, the salaries go on. And so the request is for sure this coming year, and then separately for you to also consider the subsequent years thereafter with the escalation that comes with it.
I mean, I definitely agree with what my colleagues up here have said. I think it's what the community's been asking for. And I do recall too continuously hearing about the safety factor at the parks, the shopping centers and so forth. I love your strategic idea of, hey, we need our officers to respond to something that's already happened, but we also need to get in front of it and be proactive. And I think part of that, because if we go back a couple years, it's rebridging, rebuilding those positive relationships as well, so that there isn't this like fear-based perception.
Correct.
So I actually love this. The only thing I would ask is that we consider anywhere between a 1 to 2 year approval if we went that route, just because I love data and I would just love to see what data you pull prior to, prior to having these two positions filled, just what that crime data look like in terms of what it looks like with having those positions in place or anything that might have changed. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, one
I don't know if
option.
that's possible. I don't know if there's any data.
Certainly, I mean, when the city hires, the city is committing to obviously keeping that person, employed and what have you. So the commitment is long-term. The source of funding, that's the thing that you're alluding to here. And ideally, we would want this to be approved, Measure BP permanently. But we also know it's the first time that you're making such a commitment for salaries. So you heard both the chief and Rose will tell you, and Anthony and Josh, we're still looking at the best model for acquisition, purchase versus lease. We had become accustomed to leasing because it made sense under previous terms. But now things are changing, so it's important that we look at whether purchasing the requested trucks makes more sense. So we have to come back to you anyway with a finality of our recommendation, whether lease or purchase, and we would need for the next month to give you that information. If you want to sleep on, the permanent funding versus giving us the 26, 27 first year funding for sure, and then whether you want the city staff to come back for the subsequent years, at least for the subsequent next year, 27, 28, to show you how the chief ended up deploying, how he, in the end, decided to, organize the two CSOs, whether it's by shift or by region or by geographic deployment. All of that will be figured out in the course of the upcoming year.
I have another thought. So as we're considering this, I'm just wondering if we said, okay, we'll approve it for 1 year versus ongoing. I'm curious, is that something that would be listed on the job description? Not that necessarily, but I know through my employer, when we're doing things based on a grant, it'll say like ongoing based on grant funding. And the only reason I ask that is because I know when I see that, I'm like, oh, I don't want to apply. So at the same time, I don't want to create a situation where we're not going to get anybody to apply, because I do agree to something the chief said, that it's a great pathway as well to have our own homegrown individuals to then go into law enforcement.
No, it's a great point, Madam Chair, the burden of disclosure. And, the backup would be obviously the general fund, but the general fund is in deficit, which is why we're coming to you. So the alternative to that, so that we don't create sort of a undisclosable, or so that we satisfy the burden of disclosure, that you can consider funding it permanently, but conditionally, meaning that you ask us to come back in the the following year to present you with the information. So it's conditionally, permanently approved. That way, we don't create the uncertainty.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a comment. And I'll start at the latest with my position as a chaplain, which was last night. And with San Gabriel Valley chaplains, one of the biggest things that was out there, not enough officers. Not enough officers for, we're doing great compared to what I'm hearing out there. And not only that is I have been around for some time. And I've been to the point where you guys been? I've been waiting for a long time. Like that because they didn't have enough officers to get to where they're going because they were working over here and working over there. And another incident had happened and took place. Well, I look at it like this. If they are freed up, and it will be just for a certain point of time. And I know that, and I know how that system work because it may be a point in time as they may need an officer's assistance out there because of some radical individual. But when our citizens can feel safe, and I've been to the parks where there was radical things that was happening, and how we showed up, and how this it calmed itself down. And I've been there when people didn't care, they're ready to take on the officer. But so happened, and there's one incident, they happen to know me as the pastor, and that calmed the situation down some too. And I don't know, also with this new organization, will they be able to assist the police department with death, to be able to free up the officers while the coroners are on their way to investigate?
It would depend on the situation. Obviously, if there's some kind of a concerns about the position of the body or whatever the incident is, obviously we'd have to have an officer there. But if it appears to be, I don't want to sound morbid, but if it's a natural death or something along those lines, yes, they would be able to step in and actually free up an officer so that they could, so the officer could respond to other calls. So that would be the use, the use of the CSOs at times where they would take over for an officer at a, if they have a burglary and there's nothing, the suspects are gone, and we're waiting for somebody to show up so we can actually take a report, then the CSO would be there to wait and take the report, and then again freeing up an officer. So those type of situations would happen, and the CSOs would play a role in allowing our officers to leave the scene.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that I've rolled around with as well, and I thank the Lord for the crew that you have in helping us homeless that is out there. Baldwin Park is doing pretty good, even though you're still seeing something. They are doing pretty good according to other cities that are out there. And I'm just looking and I'm saying, oh my goodness, with the graffiti, the sidewalks, and sometimes, not here in Baldwin Park, is that person dead or what? Laying on the sidewalk there, and that needs assistance. We have, and I would say we're in times now where drugs have infected people, where they are not mentally well, not all of them. And this is, you have to deal with the mental illness as well as those that are drugs. You have to deal with those that are angry because maybe I lost my job, or lost my apartment, or got a divorce and got kicked out. These are all these issues that the police department has to deal with. And to have this extra help to free them up to do their job, I think that's a great thing.
Chief, thank you for your presentation, and I really like it a lot. I agree with your presentation and your idea. Also, I have another question. Is the police officer be wearing bulletproof vest? I mean, the CO's officers will
Yes, sir.
be wearing,
They'll be provided with the equipment similar to a police officer, but not without a firearm.
and they'll be using the same frequency as the police department.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they'll know when they approach to individual, that's it's kind of unsafe for them when they can call back up and from a police officer or police officers.
Yes, sir. They'll have a radio in the car,
Uh-huh.
in the truck, and they'll also have a handheld.
Okay, yes, okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I also had another question. What's the difference between one who is sworn in and then an officer who's not?
Well, obviously it's a training, the amount of training, because it's I believe it's 6-month training that they go through. A CSO doesn't have to go through that type of training. The training for a police officer is way different, and the police officer standards training, they there's a mandates of how many hours they need to have training, and as far as CSO, it's condensed. And again, like Captain Hendricks said, we have our own in-house training that we've implemented. So all our officers that come out of the academy, they get an in-house training. They're provided with law updates and those kind of things. And they actually sit down with our homeless officers, our detectives, our dispatch, so they get an idea as to what they're going to be working with. So it's a lot more than what that I can tell you in a time that we're here. But they do get the training, they do get the exposure, so that there's a comfort level that they will be able to handle what they need to handle for the community and for the parks and assist our officers in any type of investigation that doesn't require immediacy.
Thank you.
So just to clarify, is this for 1 year then, for fiscal year 2025 to 2026? Because I heard you mention 1 year, but then you said 2 years, so just to
So
clarify.
the transmittal staff report that's from me to you, it has one recommendation, number one, for 25, 26. And then recommendation number 2 and 3 is for subsequent years with escalation, but we don't have a precise dollar amount there because depending on what the escalation is. But that would, if you were to approve all 3, then that makes it permanent. And to your point, to the point that the Madam Chair made, we just got a note from our HR person that yes, we would have to disclose if it's conditional. Yes. Yes.
Why do I want to invest my time in a job that I want to?
Yes, so it would have to be disclosed if it's not, at least for all intents and purposes, because nothing is guaranteed. Our finance director will tell you that. But knowing that it is short, temporary, then it has to be disclosed. So to avoid that, then you would consider approving 1, 2, and 3. But we have to come back to you guys though, because we have to be certain on whether we're going to purchase or lease. So we would need you to give us until next meeting to ascertain if we're going to go one route or the other.
So since we're going to wait, when you present it, can you present it with the additional, caveats that we're discussing about it having, yes, approved, but not like indefinite, but having some sort of disclaimer indicating like based on, whether it's the budget, for the regular budget from the city, what if we're not at a deficit, and there are funds that are allocated, then we can stop. But then also kind of adding that we do want the stats and we want a report of like at the end of the fiscal year to know, or not just for us, but for the community to know, this is what the investment was, and then this is what we we're able to do with this. And I think that will make it a lot easier to continue funding for these positions. And then just one more additional ask. I know that this is for those CSO positions, and I do understand how they're going to be working with a core team as well and with regular officers. But is there any way where we can have it separate, like the core team request of the truck and the CSOs separate? Because and the only reason I'm asking them, is it doable? Is it something we would consider? Is because that way we can actually, as far as transparency, let the community know this is for CSOs and that this is for the core team, because they are different teams. And that way we would be funding one and not both,
Okay.
together. I mean, just a thought. I
Very
think
good.
that would be a good thing. And then also for clarification, we have a lot of concerns as to why do we need so many trucks to be purchased, and if we can have some sort of like, when you bring us the information about the lease or the purchase versus lease, also kind of indicate, the reason why we need a truck versus a car, just so
Oh, I see.
so the community members can also see that there's a reason why the request is this versus that.
Very good.
I can comment on some of that also. I just piggyback is some of these are intertwined, such as like uh the vehicle costs. One of them is for CSO, one of them is for the core team. Do you mean to include the vehicle cost along with the personnel, or should those two be?
To separate the core team ask, which is the lease for that one pickup truck. The two pickup trucks are for the CSO. So
Yeah.
have like a CSO request for the two positions, the salaries and the two trucks, and the equipment and the uniforms and the training and all of that. And then separate to have the core team ask, which is the truck only.
Yeah, because they did explain in that presentation why they would need a pickup truck, because they do the encampment cleanup and they do a lot of moving big heavy things. So I think that was explained properly of why they need a truck. Um, so I see why you would want, but maybe for the CSO, why they would do pickup truck over the truck cars, but just want
Yeah.
to say that they did share that with us already.
Yes, no, and I understand it, but I have heard many community members emphasize the question of why a truck and not a car? Why do we need it? And even though it was indicated, is it the truck for the CSOs? Is it the truck for the core team? So just as for clarity, I think it's just a lot easier, just to be transparent with the community members.
Yeah.
Especially when they have concerns about, why another truck?
Yeah.
This is one of the things that I have seen with Officer Jim, that there was a lot of homeless stuff
Mhm.
that was from the curb to the streets. And they had to stop and put their lights on because it was a traffic hazard that was there. And they had the trucks you just pick that stuff up and put it in the truck to keep traffic moving,
That's a great explanation, Pastor Jackson, because I see the core team and they are code enforcement officers as well. They use trucks. And because they end up being jack of all trades. So Public Works their specialty is obviously to load stuff on trucks. But for the core team and now CSOs, as it is for our code enforcement officers, as Pastor Jackson said, if they're on a service call and they need to remove bulky stuff, it goes in the pickup truck. They do it themselves. They don't call Public Works. And you don't wish they would call you, do you? They just do it. That's what I love. The work ethic is amazing.
And if I may, one of the other things that, as the things that they pick up is not, to use a car versus a truck, The things that they pick up can be soiled with different things. And so that's the reason for the truck. And it's a smaller truck, it's a mid-sized truck. So it allows them to be, for them to be, the officers to be safe, for the CSOs to be safe, and also isolate the material that they're picking up and recovering. And then we have, dispose of it properly, whether it's hazardous materials or those kind of things. So that's the reason for the trucks, is because of the amount of work that they do and the amount of cleanup that they do. And that would be my request. And if there's something that shows up at Walnut Creek Park or Morgan Park or any of the parks, that the CSOs are able to remove those items without, reaching out to wait for Public Works and having them to come out, we can actually take care of it and do it timely so that we're not waiting around, because they're as busy as we are, if not busier. But again, those are the things that helps with the pickup trucks, that they can facilitate that and not have to worry about doing the things we need to be done like that.
Yes, thank you. And I think this is why I bring it up, not to question, but I bring it up more so the community members can listen in and understand the reasoning behind it. Because I know I could understand it, but I don't know if everyone
ma'am.
does. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So you have your homework?
Yes, we all very well noted. So we'll revise the report. We will have a finality on the purchase versus the lease. And then we will break down the recommendations as you guys have instructed us. Okay?
So now we'll move on to item 2, which is our financial update.
Yes, good evening, committee chair and members. And I'm happy to provide you the financial update as of March 31st, 2025. In March, we received $665,000 for the Measure BP sales tax. And as of the end of March, we have total received 14.463 million, including the interest earning. And as we have mentioned before, we have utilized this revenue to fund 11 projects that benefit the communities. And we might have 12 in May when staff bring you back about the item that we just discussed. And as of now, with these 11 projects, we have about 10.475 million in our fund balance that is available for future projects. Any questions?
I have a quick question, Rose. It says that the senior bingo system was recently delivered. Does that mean that we'll be seeing it soon?
It is done. It is lifted here. So let me take a look. And
if I could interject briefly, at the conclusion of the meeting during comments, I will elaborate a little bit more on a special festivity taking place next week for the committee. Thank you. I'll turn it back to Rose.
yes, I believe we are still in the process of paying all the final billings. Once we have done that, and then you will see the update under the column says available balance.
Thank you. Yeah, because I was like,
You're
oh,
welcome.
different price.
No question.
Just real quick, Rose, as the list of funded projects or projects waiting to be funded getting higher, longer, will any of these will we drop off if it's dropped off? Is there a place on the webpage on site that we can access to see what was funded and what's already done, just so that
Oh.
we can come back to it?
Yes, as you may see on the presentation, there is a column saying, oh, how much has been approved by the SOC and including the approved funding. Then there's a column says amount spent. And we normally should not spend more than what has been approved. At the last column, and it says available. For example, under item number 4, we completed the project and we only have $52 left. And whenever we approve funding for those projects, we give you the most adequate estimate price. Most of the time, we try to go under, not over. With this example, we have about $52 left, which will go back to the Measure BP fund balance. And you would like to see something that we say completed next time, right? Including in this worksheet.
Yeah, as
Project
as it
completed.
goes more and more, what if I'm saying if we run out of spaces and would
Oh, I
like
see.
the item number 1, if it runs out of spaces,
We remove them?
you remove them, but is there anywhere we can go back to see it? Like the council members or anybody can go back and see? Like if the list get to like 200
Yes.
and we want to see number 94, which is not on the list anymore, is there a way we can get to it?
Means we need to revise this presentation, and you suggested that we remove the project that already completed. Then we can find a way to list the project that have been completed on the website under the finance department.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
can do that too.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't want us to list everything, including the one has already completed and the one in progress. I
Okay.
think I got your message. If all the members agree that format, and I am going to
Wait.
do that.
I
Wait,
think,
That's not what I meant.
So go ahead, Shirley.
what we could do is place the financials. They're already up there in our agendas for the SOC committee. But if you want an extra layer, each month, we could put the financials that she gives us on your guys' Measure BP site on the way. So it'll always be there.
I'd like to
It'll
see
be
that
archived.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I like to be rolling, but it just, I know it's gonna run out of spaces.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so you'll see, let's say, 2 years from now, you could go back to this date
Mm.
and you know
Yes, ma'am.
what we funded.
Right.
okay, yeah,
Something like that, right?
thank you, yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
So in other words, we are just doing the monthly. If nothing happened in this month, then we list nothing.
No, Shirley, sorry, Rose, I think what Shirley's saying is we'll update it on the website so we can look back at what this month is, but I like this format a lot. I'm not sure if I can speak for my fellow SOC members, but just this is a good format. It's just when we have too many that we have a place to look at. Because if not, it might get like 7 pages long for each of us eventually down the line. But
I think
for
we have
now,
more trees.
yeah, that we keep it on our agenda, at least the full version, but for a paper one, the most current ones
I
in the
see.
future. In the future, right now, I don't think we have that problem, but yeah, but he's thinking ahead because he's like, we're doing like 3 more projects just this month alone that we're gonna probably think about funding, and it's gonna get like we're doing a lot of stuff with the SOC.
Okay.
But
Thank
right now
you.
we're good. Like please keep
Yeah.
it like this.
Thank you very much.
One of the things that I would like to say about this, I'll just use Jiffy for example. The amount of money that they have spent and what balance of that money is there. So that money, this balance of that go back into stock?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't know if I missed it or not. Did we get a report on how that did.
Yes, we did.
Did it do well?
Yes,
Or
yes.
was I?
I don't know. Where were you? Oh, no. Pastor Jackson, I have a bad memory and you're
I
asking.
think it was last meeting.
Oh, I wasn't here then. Yeah. Okay, I missed the photo too.
I do have a question. So, and I'll just use the number one as an example.
Yes.
So I do notice that there's like that note of the vehicles were ordered. But is there any way we could add like a date of like when like that comment, like that note was done? Like I wouldn't know, kind of like a update status on all these things that we have approved. So even though I know we approved it on March 6th, and the balance is still there, nothing has been utilized, like that's great. The vehicles were ordered but not yet received, but like when were they ordered? Like, is there like a way where we can document or timestamp, like, you know, this was added this month, or just for, again, transparency as to, you know, when we're expected to see the vehicles coming in? Like, is it going to take 3 months, 5 months, a year? I mean, just curious if there's any way we can add comments like that with a timestamp.
That might be little bit hard. However, we can do this. Let's see if you agree. We are together here to make things better. And we can put, for example, under item number 4, we can put purchase, then on whatever day, or item deliver on whatever day. I think purchase might be a good thing, means we completed purchase or project completed on, let's say, April 8, 2025. Just like the car out there. Is that okay?
I think it would
Sometimes
be
might
okay.
be, yeah, sometimes might be hard for public work or other staff to know when they are expected the product to deliver to them, especially for the police car. They have to go through many different ways to complete the whole project, because they have to go through retrofit after you get the vehicle. I think maybe it's more realistic once it's completed or purchased or delivered. I just add the date there.
I think that would be helpful. And because, you know, if you're looking at item 2, like I like that it has like dates there, right? So,
Yes.
you know, there was a payment. So even though there was a payment made, like I don't see anything that was spent under the column amount spent. So, again, I just, you know, again, for transparency, you know, it says year 1, 2024 payment was paid from the Board of State and Community Corrections Fund. So then that means nothing was used from the SOC money, right? It was used from there. So when do we expect SOC money to go out? Like, you see how that's detailed there? Like something like
Yes.
that, like time-stamped with
Yes.
the other ones.
Okay. I will add more detail to the report.
Thank you.
Since we still do not have 70 projects yet, we have some space there. Thank you.
And feel free to chime in, you know, other SOC members, if that's something that you would like to see. I know item 2 has it, so I was just, you know, it would be good to have it in all.
Thank you for your suggestion.
Anybody else? Okay, so now we'll move on to item 3, Stakeholders Oversight Committee, our March 11th, 2024 meeting minutes. I motion that we pass our minutes from that meeting held on March 11th, 2024. Can I get a second?
I'll second the motion.
I have a first and a second. Member Hernandez,
Yes. Excuse me, yes.
Member Martha Carcamo,
Yes.
Member Rodriguez,
Yes.
Member Nguyen,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jackson,
Yes.
Chair Lara,
Yes,
motion passes.
thank you. Next, we have Stakeholders Oversight Committee, staff requests and communications. Mr. Salivar?
Madam Chair, so I have entered a time of reflection, you know. It's interesting how we go through our careers and in a way through our lives, right? And so since the holidays this past season, this sort of time of reflection came over me and my family in terms of where I was as far as my career and what have you. And I'll tell you, I'm going to turn 62 in July. For many of us, 62 is retirement age, but that should have nothing to do with when one chooses to retire necessarily, other than that's when you become eligible for retirement. So I will be eligible, but it's really more to be able to spend time with my family. And, you know, I have family all over Mexico. My wife has family in Mexico, and we hardly ever go see them anymore. We feel that we need to make time now. So I am informing you of my intent to retire in July. Council has already directed us to begin the selection and recruitment for my successor. So that's underway already. SOC is very special to me. You, all my board members are very special to me. You know, and so I'm going to miss the city. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss all the activities in the city. And, you know, the good thing is I'm only in the city of Upland. Driving here is only a 20-minute drive. And, you know, being retired, I can choose what time of day I can come. And that could be a 10-minute drive or 15-minute drive. So, yeah, July, I will move on. And, you know, I know I will grow more emotional. Just, you know, give me a pat in the back when you see that I may be breaking down. A hug will be welcome too. But yes, July will be my last. So June will be my last SOC meeting. And we'll see if by then the council has already named a successor.
Very, very sad to hear. You know, I think for my selfish reason personally, I know coming into this, it was very much like, what are we doing? What's it going to look like? And I mean, just regardless, so all of you here sitting today have been very supportive as far as walking us through this. And I want to say, I think we feel a little more comfortable now. So in that aspect, it'll be very sad because I feel like you've been a very big supporter and just ensuring that we need, you know, what we need in order to do this. And so for me, it almost feels like my comfort blanket is detaching away. But, you know, as I've gotten older and aged, I think when I see someone that retires or I hear, I think kudos and great. Because while I feel like a part of me would be lost not going somewhere every day, I think it's great to be able to enjoy your time while you still physically can do so. So I think it's great.
Thank you.
I was gonna say not taken, it's being ripped.
Ripped?
But, I echo everything you've said. I think we wouldn't be where we're at if we wouldn't have such a great leader, such a great support. And, I also am sad, but I am happy for you because I know it takes a lot as a workaholic. I've seen you do so much, and I'm a workaholic myself, but I do also treasure the time that I do have. And I think, one thing that we cannot, worry about is work, right? And the one thing that we can worry about is our health. And as long as you have that and you have the ability to take some time off, enjoy it. Because, when you come back to the city to visit us, just don't speed because we have a lot of officers that will be on duty. That can, get some speeding tickets out there. But, we really appreciate you and I'm happy for you. It's just, you could have given us another year. or so.
Yeah, I know. It's,
But thank you for everything that you have been doing for the SOC committee and for the city.
thank you so much.
He's got to June. He's still here. But just one thing that I do want to say, do what you can while you can, and especially if you're in the health to do what you can. So when that time comes, there will be no regrets that I could have, should have, would have, and didn't.
Thank you.
Well, Enrique, excuse me. Thank you for everything that you have done for this subcommittee, your orientation, and for us to be here. We do gonna miss you. You've been a great leader, like Madam Chair said. You will be missed a lot. And I thank you for the opportunity for me to be here with the subcommittee. You're gonna be missed. Enjoy your vacation, your retirement while you can.
Have you guys seen the pictures of George and his family when he's vacationing in Mexico? He's on the beach. I said, you're partly to blame for this because I want to do the same.
Yeah. I usually, when I go to Mexico, I celebrate my wife's birthday over there, where I can hire a mariachi. 12. It's a group of 12 people for about 10,000 pesos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's $120 per element
Yeah.
per hour.
Yeah.
So 12, that's,
Enjoy your retirement.
thank you.
Enjoy your retirement. You're going to be missed, Enrique.
Gracias.
Really, though. God bless you. Que Dios te bendiga.
So thank you for your leadership and your guidance for the past couple of years. I know I came in here knowing nothing about the city, nothing about how it runs, and your guidance have walked me through a lot, opened up my eyes a lot. I want to say welcome to the retirement club,
Yes.
and I'm gonna sure miss those monthly texts from you. Thank you.
Yeah. Gracias.
Does anyone have any asks as far as our next meetings or requests? No, and I know you're gonna do this oh, go ahead.
Madam Chair, just a last minute idea that the team came up with. We did receive our new bingo equipment, and the senior club and staff came up with an idea to have a ribbon cutting ceremony next Tuesday. I realize it's a work day, so whoever is available next Tuesday at the senior center at 9 a.m. Bingo officially starts at 9:30. We will have coffee, pan dulce, but for those of you that are retired possibly you could attend. So next Tuesday at 9 a.m. at the Senior Center, we will have a ribbon cutting and a photo op, and we will post it on our social media site. So thank you very much, and thank you for your continued support for all of the Recreation Community Services programs. Thank you.
Thank you.
That means you can come, Enrique.
Yes. He said next week.
You're still here.
I'm still here.
But what I started to ask Enrique, and I know you've been doing this diligently and your predecessor will too, but just ensuring that as the youth teams that receive the grant, just as they're submitting their reimbursement material, that they, are part of the agenda so we can continue to recognize those teams.
Thank you for the reminder, Madam Chair. Shirley just got a reimbursement today. So we figured out a way, those that will be live, you'll present the check, and those who will have a check issued before the next meeting will be asked to come back, and then we'll present them with a makeup check, if you will.
perfect.
You will present them.
Okay.
So either way, you will see them here.
Okay. Thank you. With that said, our next SOC meeting is on May 6, 2025 at 5 p.m. With that, I adjourn this meeting today at 6:54 p.m.